Audio chat. What's up, Skinny? You're a Steelers fan. What up, Chris? You can hear me? Okay. Okay. Let's make sure we good everywhere else. We good. We good. We good. We here. Jordan, can you hear me? All my audio good? Audio good up there? How we feeling, chat? I know we're a little late. RC, what's up, bro? I know we a little late on our therapy session, and I know it's clear there clearly was a reason. Trey, appreciate the finger heart, bro. There clearly was a reason, right? Like, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like, I don't know if my body felt the fiasco stuff that was happening. But see, mom, appreciate a follow on Twitch, baby. I don't know if my body felt it, but like I was like, man, I ain't doing the therapy on Monday. And then I was gonna do it yesterday, and then I just didn't get around to it. And then sure enough today, there was enough to be like, oh, we have no choice but to go live. So now we have to have our therapy session. Although the last scene I saw with Ken Dorsey calling plays was him losing it in the play calling room. Yes, I remember that. Trey, you only got 10 claims left. You good, bro. Over under 4.5 wins. I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit. But that's not why we're here right now. Big news of the day. If you're living under a rock, Kevin Stefanski dropped a bomb saying that he's going to give up play calling for the rest of the year. And I heard his interview, I think it was yesterday or early yesterday or in the evening on Monday. And he just didn't sound like a confident coach who was going to be moving forward. And it truly sounds like he's living week to week right now. Dorsey even went so as far as to say, well, why is Dorsey coming in to call the plays now? Wasn't he brought in to help with Deshaun Watson? And Kevin Stefanski pulled back or pushed back on that. But it seems like odd timing and weird that it's going about this way. And all this, I mean, I think us as Browns fans have been in this situation all too many times to know what's on the horizon. Like, seats are no longer hot. Seats are boiling. Like, this is as hot as the seats has ever been, because you guys know my stance on Kevin Stefanski. Like, and here's another reason why I think it's odd, because when we talk about why Kevin Stefanski was brought in here, they were arguing about this on the radio, and I can't disagree more with John Phelps or with Phelps and Baskin, because they think that Kevin Stefanski was brought in here to be a head coach, to do the head coach operations, when I think that's no further from the truth. I think Kevin Stefanski was brought in here because of his offensive mind. I do think his best attribute was calling plays, which is why it was always that rock between a hard place with Kevin Stefanski and wanting him fired. And now that you're taking away the thing that brought him, the one thing that he could do best was call the plays, you're now giving that up to Dorsey. And so you've already shown me over the years you're not that type of leader of men that I want you to be. So now, in which the guy, I think it's Medigan, he was arguing it, saying that, why are you here? He couldn't be more right. Why are you here now? If you're not going to be here to call plays, I can let Mike Vrabel run the show. I can let Jim Shorts run it. Like, there's other people on the staff that can do what you're essentially about to be doing. So, I mean, I guess now we're going to actually see what Kevin Stefanski can do as far as galvanizing the troops, finding a different way for them to buy in other than, hey, this is my offense. Let's go out here and and lead this way. But it just all of this just seems messy. And it's frustrating that it's messy because the Browns have done a pretty good job of not being messy until it gets to a point of no return. And you can see that they tried to learn from the Baker situation and how that whole thing panned out. But here's another opportunity where this situation is so sticky and it's so just uncomfortable, right? Like, and they're choosing to handle it a very odd way, in my opinion. Like, you mean to tell me it took you 1 in 6 to give up the play calling? We've been messy. No, we no, we haven't though. See, that's the thing though. Like, it feels like we may have been messy, but during the Andrew Berry and the Kevin Stefanski regime, we haven't stuff hasn't been leaked out. Kevin Stefanski very rarely gave us any insight on what's going on. Like, things that the Browns typically have done, in recent years before the regime. This regime hadn't done that. The only areas that they kind of messed up in were the Baker, like when stuff really started to hit the fan, they didn't really know how to operate that. And we're in that right now, and they're kind of showing glimpses of it again. I think they've done a good job keeping everything close to the vest and not letting information and stories leak out. We're always sitting here questioning, and that's never the case with the Browns. Jacket, what's up, bro? So I think they've done a pretty good job, but when it's hitting the fan, they don't know how to control it. So I don't know. It all seems like kind of odd timing in this whole situation. Then you had DTR get the nod above Winston last week, and it was already foreshadowed. So, like, this was already in the works for some time now. It felt like, just how everything panned out. Like, Jameis Winston, I thought was always the backup moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, he clearly gives us the better chance to win. And you're setting up packages and just kind of like ushering in DTR. Now he's got this hand injury, and now you're playing him when you give up the play. Like, if anything, Winston fits exactly what Kevin Stefanski wants to do better than anybody. So I don't know. That's a weird situation. We might get blown out by 30. I don't know. That'd be kind of weird. Why did you buy games to the Ravens game in the preseason? Because it's still a Ravens game. Quick question: who do I start, Geno, Jared, or Russell? I'm not sure who those teams are playing, but either Jared or Geno. What stinks is if we would have won Sunday, if Winston was the backup. Which is why this just feels like everything is just business operated right now. It feels like they have no interest in doing. That's not even fair to say either, though, because hindsight's 2020. I just think the winning masked the problem. And I talked about this and talked about it, and I took so much crap for this. That's why I want you guys to go back and watch that John Tellich interview, bro, because I questioned it. I said, if we lose this playoff game, I don't care what the expectation was, bro. If we lose this playoff game and we take any step backward, you can't. It's a fail. Like, you can't sign stuff. This was the year that you find out if you were supposed to re-sign Kevin Stefanski. They jumped the gun on it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to go back down last year, bro, because last year was such a glorious time, but it's just crazy how we are in this situation, and only Cleveland Browns would be in this situation because we shouldn't be in this situation. Here's the thing. If we had the Stones, right, all of this could have been avoided. There's no way. I mean, No, yeah. If you had Stones, all of this could have been avoided. Because the second you roll out Deshaun Watson and he starts losing and he is not winning, you could have ultimately it goes back to bringing back Flacco and telling Deshaun Watson, hey, this may be uncomfortable, but this is the situation. At the end of the day, we're trying to win football games. And if we're doing what is best for this organization, what's best for this team, trying to win games, we're going to have Joe Flacco on this roster in case any emergencies happen. And they could have pulled the trigger on that. But no one in this organization has stones. They only have guts. They want to be right. They want their gut to be right. They want to instinctually be so right because the ego, which has always been the problem, dates back to Baker Mayfield, dates back to OBJ, dates back to John Dorsey. The main problem with this organization is ego. And that starts with the owner, because our owner is the guy with the biggest ego because he wants to be a Walmart Jerry Jones. And until Jerry Jones, and until Jimmy Haslam can control his ego, it will domino effect down to the thing, because you're looking at a beaten and broken Kevin Stefanski right now. This dude, we're looking at a guy with absolutely zero power. Zero freaking power. Appreciate you, Carlos. And it makes me wonder what type of power, what type of say, which is why I'm standing on the business that Andrew Berry doesn't get fired, because Andrew Berry has done his job despite fans' opinion, despite the perspective from the fans. Because if Jimmy Haslam wanted Deshaun Watson, and that has to be like, I can't buy into this notion that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry swayed Jimmy Haslam into spending $230 million. Unless, I mean, now I just thought of it. I kind of just thought of it, well, maybe how, unless they said, hey, look, if you spend, but no, see, that's the hindsight 2020. I'm going all over the place. I want to talk about that. We sit here and look at this now as it's the worst trade. Yes, it's the worst trade in the history of football. No question. Not even a doubt. It's terrible. But I think people need to take into the context of why we made the move and when we made the move, and the facts that remain of why the move was made. At the time, fact or not fact, this is an opinion, fact. Deshaun Watson was top 3 in the league at the quarterback position. There was Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. You can argue how you wanted, who you wanted to be number one. Deshaun Watson was one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the league, period. That's a fact. Another fact, the Cleveland Browns have never, ever had an opportunity, as long as I've been watching, since 99, to not only acquire through free agency a top 5 talent, top 3 talent at quarterback in the league, but trade for one. We've never been in that situation ever in the history of the Cleveland Browns organization, as long as I've been alive. Maybe the older fans can tell me a different situation, but since 99, we've never had an opportunity to do it. And you cannot fault an organization. You cannot fault an owner for taking a stab and doing what we have been trying to do for so freaking long. That's why we moved on from Baker. Everyone wants to say, like, oh, we did Baker so wrong, this and that, da 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 da. Well, the only reason why we moved on from Baker is because we had an opportunity to do something that we've never had to do ever. The Browns and top quarterback have never been in the same conversation, other than hoping drafting the next top quarterback. And we all know how that is, because we're on quarterback number 39. So we sit here and look at it now, and it was the worst thing that could have possibly happened. But we did what every other GM tried to do. We did what every other owner probably tried to do, and every other regime tried to do, is go out there and get a top quarterback or top talent at the quarterback position. Now, when you mix in all of the other baggage and all the other stuff, that's a whole nother topic of discussion. But the reason why they did it, I can't fault Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam for jumping the gun. That would have been the only reason why, like, they told Baker Mayfield, we move on from you. And it's not like they didn't tell Baker Mayfield that they weren't going to go out and try to potentially get better at the position. That was when the bridge became burned. That was when the egos came into play, and that was when you was no turning back, regardless, because you straight up told Baker that we're going out and we're looking. So this is just it's a crappy situation to be in, because they did the right move. They made the right play. The execution was poor. The pieces of the move ultimately wasn't right. And I think if I'm Jimmy Haslam, the one thing I'm not doing is messing up this money even more. So that's why I think that Andrew Berry is safe in all of this, because Andrew Berry can juggle this money in this cap situation. He's been doing it pretty phenomenally since this Watson trade. So until this stuff is situated and this is off the books, I don't think we see Andrew Berry getting canned. Now, what I would say is I wouldn't be opposed to bringing a guy in of like a John Dorsey to help with the football operations as far as the talent aspect. Like, let Andrew Berry run operation, let him run shop, but let him have that football mind. You know, when John Dorsey came in and said we need to get in actual football players, and that was that whole thing here. We need to get in a guy that can nod Andrew Berry into the right direction. You know what I mean? And then I think, you know, we go from there. But it's clear as day. The trigger, the button has been the nuclear button is at least up. It may have been pressed with this releasing of the play calling from Kevin Stefanski. But I don't know. You think we should trade Juan Thornhill? I mean, I think he's on a contract. His contract's up after this year. What's up, Austin? We were taking Quinn here. Like, and then there's that aspect. You know, they always they harp on the people aspect of this of the business and the organization and how they run things. I mean, you know, we like to run people out of this town quicker than we should. I think at the end of the day, you know, Andrew Berry has earned has earned a crack at this, right? Let's just go back and look at this. Like 2016 to 2018, Andrew Berry was vice president of the operations, meaning that he was on the draft, he was on the regime when they drafted Myles Garrett, and they had the 3 first-round picks. He was on that regime as a vice president. Hold on, my fault. Let me pull this up for YouTube and you guys real quick. Boom. Okay. So I think this 2016 season here too. But this was his first crack at being a VP. So he had input with David Njoku, Myles Garrett, and Nick Chubb, and Ward, and Baker. And then this 2019 year, he was in Philly. And as you can see, this was all Dorsey and not much great stuff. But then you get into the Andrew Berry and his first year as a GM by himself, where I'm sure he probably had the final say-so and stuff. You had an option between Jedrick Wills and Tristan Wirfs. Now, obviously, hindsight's 2020. We know Tristan Wirfs is miles better than Jedrick Wills, but you couldn't deny what Jedrick Wills was at the time. It was a bad pick, yes, 100%. But it was also his first one. But he rebounded with Grant Delpit. You got so many years out of Harrison Bryant. DPJ was a fan favorite who was ultimately underutilized. So you got a bunch of I like to call Andrew Berry the guardians of picks, because we don't have any grand slam hitters. Like JOK is a home run. JOK is a home run. Where's the other home runs that he had? He has JOK, and we thought DeJuan Jones was going to be it, but that's not it. Grant Delpit is like a triple, I would say. Double, ground rule double. So like my point is, we don't have any home run hitters from his picks, but you know what we got? We got a bunch of guys that can get on base. We got a bunch of solid hitters, a bunch of guys that you can rely on when you look at that in that bulk of the lineup and be like, damn, you know what? I can go to this guy. And that was the Harrison Bryants, the DPJs. Despite Nick Harris had a bad little game there that one, this year, but he was serviceable last year. Let's not forget how good Nick Harris was last year. Greg Newsome, Hudson, while he's not the best, guess how serviceable he was over the years in plugging in and being reliable. Your best availability is availability. Your best ability is availability. Jeez, say that 5 times in a row. Serviceable. Jerome Ford, we know the impact that he had last year. David Bell, 3rd, 4th down merchant. Alex Wright was coming into his own. Martin Emerson, you can argue that was the home run. That was the other one I was looking for. Cam Mitchell, great hit. DTR, people still think he can run this thing. McGuire has came into his own. DeJuan Jones, like, he's not hitting home runs by any stretch, but he hits a lot of base hits. So I think he's earned the right. And he's managed the money situation great. Yeah, he put us in this cap hell, but he's managed it phenomenally. I want to see what he can do with with a first round, with a first 3 pick, with a first 5 pick. You know what I mean? And he's got 8 picks this year. We got a lot of 3rd, 4th, 5th rounders. I wouldn't be. I mean, I can see Andrew Berry being aggressive and moving up in the draft. You know what I mean? So like, we're at least getting one more year at Andrew Berry, at the very least. And I think they're gonna see how this Kevin Stefanski thing pans out, because there's two. Kevin Stefanski is using a card that he doesn't want to use, but let's just say this works. Kevin Stefanski saves his job, because despite how people think, oh, 2-time coach of the year, oh, if we run out of 2-time coach of the year, that's crazy work. Stop it. You're emotionally involved. You're emotionally attached. This is a results-based business. Your team, the offense that you run is 1-6. You made a bunch of moves this offseason to cater to what your $230 million quarterback. And at the end of the day, you hired 2 guys, and 2 of those positions are as bad as they could have been. It's a results-based business. Somebody has to pay for it. Sorry, it just so happens to be a guy that we're emotionally attached to. That's the life of Cleveland. We get emotionally attached to a lot of guys on this team, in this organization. But we can definitely get better. We can definitely be led better, especially when you look inside the AFC North and see that a team that has no business having 4 or 5 wins has exactly that. And yet we're at the bottom, the laughing stock, when we have $180 million into our offense. Do you think Kevin wanted Watson? You know what I think? I think Kevin Stefanski, this is why it's like, this isn't me trying to be hard on Stefanski, but what people fail to realize is that Kevin Stefanski didn't have to sign this extension this upcoming year. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, whether he wanted Watson or not, he would have had an out. I mentioned it on a live back a couple streams ago. Mike McDaniel had to write a paper for Shanahan, 30 pages on why he needed to get out of this organization. If it was that bad and he couldn't handle the fire inside the kitchen, he shouldn't have signed that extension. So that's why I think it's like, Kevin Stefanski, whether you guys don't want to put blame on him or not, he signed up for this. And not just once, twice. So yeah, he signed up for it in 2020, but he also had an out. He also had a chance to maybe take his talents elsewhere if he saw whatever the storm that we didn't see coming. But instead, he signed on that dotted line, collected his check, and got an extension. So I can't sit here and say that I feel sorry for a guy who knew what he was signing up for. Max Crosby reportedly to Detroit. Wow, that would be wild. But I don't see anything on that. We have 10 picks in the draft. It's my bad. I thought we had 8. I love me some Travis Hunter too. That's why I think Travis Hunter he would be the perfect pick for us. What do you guys think about this though? Like, are you guys excited for the Dorsey era to begin? Would you have rather Stefanski kept the play calling? Like, what are your guys' like? How are you guys feeling about this situation? Because I truly do think this is such an odd situation to be in. Ken Dorsey got fired for Buffalo for sucking. What we thinking? I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say you're wrong. How would you feel if Cup ends up in Pittsburgh in the AFC North? TJ Black, don't you put that evil on me. Don't you put that evil on me in that AFC North, TJ Black, please. Watching it, thought it was great. You would have loved to see Kevin call plays one more week with Winston. That's what I'm saying. Me too. I just can't imagine they wanted this to happen this year. Which is why last year was such a cursing and a blessing at the same time. Winston is not J17 though. You're right. It's going to be good to see if he has potential with this offense. You're hearing rumors that Myles Garrett and Greg Newsome are going to be traded. I thought that was done. They're not trading. They're not trading, bro. I'm not even entertaining those rumors. You're not against the rebuild with the rebuild of the stadium. It's not a rebuild. Like, this is such a soft rebuild that the Browns have to go through because you still have your cornerstone pieces, bro. Like, I'm wondering if part of this is just appeasing the players. They're 1-6. They can't come back from it. They can. It's just so sick to see our defense. They can't. It's just so sick to see our defense go through this because I've never seen a Browns team fight so hard when we're down so bad. Like, our defense hasn't given up yet, and I can't say that about any other team that I can think of in recent Browns years where our season is all but over and our defense is still going out there giving us an opportunity, and our offense is just so bad. Picked up Cedric Tillman in fantasy. Might be a good look. You want the Browns to go get a better pass rusher opposite of Myles. That would be nice, but right now that's probably not even on their radar. I feel like they're going to trade down, draft O-line heavy or receiver because until Watson is gone. So here's that's the interesting thing. So the timetable apparently is the timetable for Deshaun Watson is 9 months. Which, if you look at it in that way, yeah, you rocking with 4 again next year. This is the word, like, Max and myself talked about it on Honor the Lamb podcast, and we sat here and said, could it get any worse? And he said no. And then I went on a complete rant on how it could get worse. And that rant that I went on how it could get worse, this partially lined up with it, but it got worse in the worst way because not only can you not walk away from this and confidently, if you're in, I laugh because us as fans know, but like if you're Jimmy Haslam and these guys and you got all this money, it's like you can't confidently be like, yeah, okay, we're just gonna throw Deshaun away. Like you're not just gonna throw $172 million away. I know somebody. Shoot, I went to the store and borrowed 5 Kool-Aid packets and I accidentally threw them away. And I got home and said, "Damn, I really just threw away $1.75." Like, damn, like I can't imagine just being like, I'm gonna throw away 172 million, and then you're looking at the product on the field, and when Kevin Stefanski says, yeah, Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win, and then DTR comes out and throws balls in the dirt just as much as Deshaun Watson did, and we can't score over 20 points. And then we're gonna see how these weeks unfold. We're gonna be sitting here and saying, damn, maybe it really wasn't Deshaun Watson. And then you're going to be sitting here all offseason like, man, we may have to run this back again. Like, this is a very, very, very bad situation to be in. The city sued the Haslam's for stadium move and yeah, I saw that. I do like the theory though. Like, hear the theory out. Yeah, the insurance policy thing. I made a video on that a couple days ago. But the theory that I want to talk about real quick, somebody called and said about it. You know, how when you talk about trying to change an organization and trying to change a culture and establish something, right? Damn, Primetime done it 2 times, hasn't he? Like, I don't think Shador works here in Cleveland, but Shador would work with Deion Sanders here. Call me crazy. I know it may not be what we need, but you want to talk about changing a culture. We have seen this guy do it successfully 2 times in a row. One place in a place where we knew he would thrive in, and then another place where we thought he was going to rot in. No, people, y'all know it's crazy. People thought Colorado wasn't going to be no good. They looking pretty good to me right now. Culture looks pretty changed up to me. He brought his Louis in there. You want to talk about changing the culture? The man has done it back-to-back times. Why can't he do it 3? You don't want to say that all it would be is a circus, but guess what, though? Nobody knows how to control the circus better than Deion Sanders. He's exactly what we thought. We thought Johnny Manziel could handle the pressure because of how good he was and because that was his moxie. But see, Deion Sanders, he knows how to handle certain types of pressure and certain types of ego and certain types of this and certain types of that. Like, I'm not saying that I agree. I'm not saying that I want it, but I'm putting 2 to 2 together. You want to talk about a culture change and getting somebody here and there can handle a circus? That man know how to do it, man. That man know how to do it. And yes, Josh, you're right. College and NFL are 2 different beasts. I 100% agree. 1,000% agree. I'm talking out my rear end a little bit, right? But the proof is in the pudding. We're talking about culture changing and setting a standard and understanding what the situation is and trying to control what it is. Baker Mayfield handled it up until he couldn't. Kevin Stefanski handled it up until he couldn't. All Deion Sanders' life, he has put the spotlight on him and has made the most out of any catastrophe that has been thrown his way. He know how to handle pressure. He would change this culture around day and night like that. Like you said, he gonna bring his Louis. Now, and I, like you said, I know it's a different beast. I'm just saying. The lights could get very bright in Cleveland. Pride wants to mold players, not just grown men. But see, that's why this is such a prime. This is why we're coming back into that opportunity. All of the players that are coming up in the new era that is coming around, like, this is why you've seen some of these great coaches step back, like the old school mantra, the old school macho of how to do things and how to run a football team is slowly weeding itself out. Yeah, they're still going to work, and they'll always be staples of it. But you got to find a way to lead these new men that are coming into this game. A lot of that old they're getting old, man. It's not a lot of old school players, and there's a new game being played. And you got to find the right type of leaders that can handle these new age players. You might as well get ahead of the curve before you can't. You know what I mean? Get ahead of it. Zay really wants to make Cleveland a circus. No, I don't. I'm just saying, if we've been a circus, like we sit here and want to expect this stuff to change. We've been a circus for so long. We've been a circus for so long. Well, damn it, we might as well embrace it like we embraced the underdog role last year. Come get somebody to come run this and let it not be a circus, or let it be the circus for let it be something worthwhile. No, to Dion, I'd rather go variable. Yeah, we're talking about pipe dream. We just talking right now. This is nothing that has any type of that's not Dion coming to Cleveland is not happening. But I'm just talking about from a culture standpoint. Now, Mike Vrabel, you want to talk real? I think Mike Vrabel would have been the perfect coach, perfect situation, would have been the perfect guy for this team. Honestly, he would have been everything you needed this year. But that's okay though. We about to start really seeing stuff is really about to start getting unfolded. Stuff is really about to unfold these next few weeks, bro. It is. Do the Browns win another game this year? Yes. Are you gonna have merch at the tailgate? Yeah, we got some get off the field shirts there for shizzle. I actually need to go see if they have more blanks up at my spot so I can get some more World Takeover shirts, even though those we're not taking over anything but a first round pick. I'm actually trying to come up with a couple different designs. Although I don't want to do anything different, it's probably just gonna be some tech because I got some shirt ideas for the situation that we're in. I am curious to see how Jameis Winston performs this week, though. I'm super curious to see how he performs this week. What's up, Andrew? Crazy how 2020 and 2023 was the only no circus. TJ, that's where you're wrong, though. Those were two of the most controllable circuses that we had, though. That's why Kevin Stefanski thrives so well. Like 2020 was a circus because the world was shut down. You couldn't even have regular football meetings. There were certain things that you couldn't do. Kevin Stefanski could control everything from the tip of his fingers. 2023, injury after injury after injury after injury, and guess what? You lucked into Joe Flacco, and you know it's not hard to control a vet that's willing to do whatever it takes. Joe Flacco, you know what's crazy? If Joe Flacco came in here today, you want to talk about peeling off some wins in a row? That was the biggest blunder, and I knew it the second. I knew it was happening. I couldn't even fault them for not doing it because I already knew you couldn't bring back Joe Flacco. But I bet you if you got those guys in a closed door, in a closed room, right? And you asked them straight up and was just like, if you had, was it really your choice to not bring Flacco back because he didn't give you the best chance to win? Or did you do it because you had to appease Deshaun Watson? Did you do it because the PR nightmare would have been too much? Did you do it for the reasons that we know you did it for? And I'm willing to bet that those guys would be like, you know why we did it. But like, no, this time, you know why we did it. I mean, we'd have a chance to sign him today. It'd be awesome rooting for another Flacco comeback. It would. It'd bring the city together. Did we trade Miles Trent? Absolutely not, bro. You can't wait to hear your opinion on the AFC North table. I don't even want to do that today, man. I'm so annoyed. I have to. We're 1-6. I can't even say nothing. I also believe that Stefanski gave up play calling so he can focus on the players individually and try to bring the locker room back together and make it like last season. But see, Andrew, here's the thing. I don't see that because that's not what he does. And he's never been that way. That's why I said last year, the reason why people galvanized to Kevin Stefanski was because he was winning games. Because Joe Flacco was leading the way that we want Kevin Stefanski. Exactly what you just said is what Joe Flacco was doing. and Kevin Stefanski was doing what he did best and create a good offense. Like that, Kevin Stefanski's offensive mind was never the problem. Kevin Stefanski's situational football and leadership, head coach tangibles is what I'm looking for, is what lacked. I always thought that was always my point with Kevin Stefanski, which is why I was fine with him calling plays. Because that's what you brought him here to do. We've seen that he can scheme guys open. But the problem is you didn't run when you were supposed to. You passed when you weren't supposed to. You made the game a lot harder than it needed to be. And then you failed to be able to make any adjustments. And then, oh, by the way, your team's falling apart and you have no clue how to galvanize these guys together. The tangibles that I need in a head coach lacked in Kevin Stefanski. The offense never. I mean, execution was a big problem there too. But you know where my big problem is when I do think about the offense of Kevin Stefanski, because I made that video on it and I talked about when he left Minnesota. They were the 4th ranked offense the year right after he left. You know, Minnesota has finished above us in offense every year that we've had Stefanski. That puzzles me a little bit. I remember Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen not being too happy when Kevin Stefanski was over there in that show too. So they're trying to figure out why we get rid of it. It's weird because the lever's pulled, Andrew. You're a Browns fan, your homie's a Chargers fan. Damn. Sam, actually, I got a homie that's a Chargers fan too. You think Jameis could be it? He's a leader and a culture champion. He needs reps. He a vet. He don't need no reps. He just need to go out there and play. He probably been waiting to get out here, bro. Winston just slings it, bro. He gonna sling it. All right, guys. I'm gonna get off here. I got roundtable later today. I just wanted to come on and talk some Kevin Stefanski a little bit, because we needed to. I have really bad anxiety right now. I don't know why. Like, I need to go walk. I need to go walk. I feel like I need to hit something. Has anyone else been having real bad anxiety these past 2 days? I had the same feeling yesterday where it feels like I just need to punch something. Like there's this feeling in my chest and it's just like chomping at me. I don't know why it is, but I need to go walk. You have it too? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go walk. Okay. I'll see you guys a little bit later. All right. Peace.